Well, folks, it's September 29th, which means history decided to go full Costco sampler platter. You want military coups? We got them. Atrocities? Sure, take two. Scientific breakthroughs that both saved and terrified humanity? Step right up. This date is basically history's chaotic yard sale. One minute you're getting a shiny new police force, the next minute the Nazis are committing atrocities, and then bam, CERN invents the internet. It's the full range of humanity, what the hell are you doing, all in one day. So buckle up. We're diving into September 29th, a day that proves humans can simultaneously create order, unleash chaos, and still find time to invent rock and roll. Segment 1, the architecture of power, from Bobbies to Pompeii. Let's start with September 29th, 1829, when London launched the Metropolitan Police. Before this, law enforcement in London was just a bunch of half-drunk watchmen with lanterns yelling, "Stop thief!" at stray cats. It was basically the security equivalent of posting a "Beware of dog" sign and then having no dog. Sir Robert Peel stepped in with his Metropolitan Police Act, and suddenly London had organized officers in blue uniforms. Folks called them bobbies or peelers. Cute nicknames until you remember people literally beat them up in the streets. One officer even got killed in a riot, and a jury ruled it justifiable homicide. Imagine HR trying to file that one. Peel's big innovation was the idea that police needed the consent of the public. Wild concept, right? That their power wasn't from brute force, but from public trust. Fast forward to today, and, well, let's just say Peel's ghost is probably staring at Twitter like, "You had one job, lads." But the September 29th tradition of flexing state power doesn't stop there. Back in 1789, Congress said, you know what's cooler than freedom? A standing army. And thus the U.S. Army was officially created. Just 1,000 soldiers, which today wouldn't even be enough to fill a football stadium parking lot tailgate. Anti-Federalists were terrified it meant tyranny, but Federalists were like, relax, it's just 1,000 guys with bayonets. What could possibly go wrong? Cut to America 2025. We spend more on defense than the next 10 countries combined. So yeah, it escalated quickly. And if you think that's power trip enough, roll it back to 61 BC. Pompey the Great, Rome's golden boy, celebrates his third triumph. Dude rolls into town on his 45th birthday like the original Kardashian, flexing about how he beat pirates and a king. His parade was so over the top it blurred the one between Roman tradition and reality's Tivoli pilot. Spoiler, these overpowered generals eventually broke the research could run, and then stab. Segment 2, the human cost of conflict, Bobby Yar and beyond. September 29th isn't just bureaucrats with uniforms and parades. Nope, it's also a day soaked in blood. Let's start with the Bobby Yar massacre in 1941. Nazis rounded up over 33,000 Jews in Kyiv, marched them to a ravine, told them they were being resettled, and then machine gunned them into a mass grave. That's the Holocaust stripped of gas chambers and train cars. It was bureaucracy plus bullets. The horror was so immense that even decades later, the Soviet Union refused to call it what it was, chalking it up to peaceful Soviet citizens, which is like describing the Titanic as an unplanned aquatic relocation. Flip the clock to 1918. The Allies bust through the Hindenburg Line. Germany's so-called impregnable defense lasted about as long as a wet paper bag in a thunderstorm. Once it cracked, even Hindenburg and Ludendorff had to tell Kaiser Wilhelm, hey boss, we're toast. That's basically the military equivalent of quitting via post-it note. Then in 1939, Hitler and Stalin high-fived and literally split Poland in half. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact went from secret evil handshake to public carving up a sovereign nation. They even used the Bug River as the dividing line. Imagine being Poland, watching your two worst nightmares play rock, paper, scissors with your borders. The whole world got the message. This war wasn't going to be about gentlemen's agreements. It was a total smash and grab by dictators. Segment 3, the pursuit of knowledge, CERN, satellites, and Fermi. Thankfully, September 29th isn't all carnage. Sometimes we actually use brains instead of bullets. In 1954, Europe founded CERN, aka the lab that gave us both the Higgs boson and the internet. That's right, the World Wide Web was born at CERN. Tim Berners-Lee just wanted an easier way for physicists to share research. And instead, he accidentally created a universe where your grandma shares Minion memes at 3 a.m. Thanks, Tim. On this day in 1962, Canada launched Alouette 1, their first satellite. America had NASA, the Soviets had Sputnik, and Canada said, fine, we'll put a maple leaf in orbit. Respect. They became the third nation to design and build a satellite, proving that space wasn't just for superpowers, it was also for polite neighbors with hockey sticks. And let's not forget Enrico Fermi, born September 29, 1901. He gave us Fermi-Dirac statistics, the nuclear reactor, and oh yeah, the atomic bomb. The man was basically Schrodinger's scientist, genius and horrifying at the same time. He fled Mussolini's fascist Italy, came to the US, and helped unlock nuclear fission. So next time you microwave leftovers, just thank Fermi for teaching us how to split atoms, and also curse him a little for Hiroshima. Segment 4, the fabric of society, from Tylenol to billionaires. If you lived through the 1980s, September 29th probably sends chills down your spine. That's when the Tylenol murders began. Somebody laced Tylenol capsules with cyanide, 7 people died, and suddenly America realized, hey, maybe we shouldn't trust medicine bottles that open easier than a bag of Cheetos. Johnson & Johnson recalled 31 million bottles. The result? Safety seals and tamper-proof packaging. Basically, the reason your Advil now feels like opening Fort Knox. September 29th is also a date for capitalism whiplash. In 1916, Rockefeller became the world's first billionaire, back when $1 billion was more than just what Elon Musk spends on Twitter memes in a weekend. He did it with oil and monopolies, proving once and for all that breaking up Standard Oil wasn't about fairness, it was about jealousy. Then, in 2008, Congress tanked a $700 billion bailout vote, and the Dow Jones plunged 777 points, the single biggest drop at the time. Wall Street bankers stared at their Bloomberg terminals like toddlers watching an iPad die. And average Americans? We just wondered if we could still afford milk. It was the financial system's reminder that capitalism can turn from Rockefeller's yacht party to, please don't foreclose my house, real fast. Segment 5, cultural legacies. Cervantes, Nelson, Zola, and rock and roll. And finally, September 29th is packed with cultural heavyweights. Miguel de Cervantes, born 1547, wrote Don Quixote, basically the OG parody novel. Without Cervantes, there's no satire, no Kleppers Corner. The man mocked knights chasing windmills, which today is just Elon Musk arguing with the SEC. Horatio Nelson, born 1758, made Britain's Navy the Marvel Cinematic Universe of its day. The man lost an arm, an eye, and still beat Napoleon's fleet. Basically, he was the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, but competent. Jerry Lee Lewis, born 1935, brought us Great Balls of Fire. He also married his 13-year-old cousin, so yeah, history comes with footnotes. On the death side, you've got Emile Zola, who used his pen to blow up the Dreyfus Affair. W.H. Auden, who gave poetry an existential edge. And Roy Lichtenstein, who turned comic books into art galleries. If Cervantes skewered the old world, Lichtenstein embraced the new one. And somewhere in between, Jerry Lee was lighting his piano on fire. September 29th, proof that culture is equal parts genius, chaos, and scandal. So there you have it. September 29th, a day where nations were forged, armies built, atrocities committed, science advanced, economies crashed, and Jerry Lee Lewis tried to set the stage on fire. If history teaches us anything, it's that humans are fantastic at multitasking. We can invent the police and also immediately distrust them. We can split atoms for science and also blow up cities. We can create tamper-proof seals for Tylenol and still fail to protect our bank accounts from Wall Street. September 29th isn't just a date, it's a microcosm of humanity. Brilliant, brutal, ridiculous, and occasionally set to rockabilly piano.